Good afternoon. This morning, bright and early, just after dawn, I came out here in this same place and I laid down and put my head next to that little scene. And I told you that you could have a magical day and that magical things would happen for you if you were prepared to believe in magic. All right. So somebody is out here in the forest, probably somebody who believes in magic. And there we go. Look at that. A new rock for the shrine. Putting things in the forest. Building this magical little forest kingdom. Something like you would read about in a children's book, perhaps. Something where wonder and all kinds of magical things could happen. Where there are doorways, secret doorways into other dimensions and little elves that entice you. Magic, right? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about magic from an adult perspective, okay? All right, cool. So let's say, what should we say? Yesterday, on my regular Thursday, call them a mastermind call, I guess. It's really just a call where we have a whole bunch of people who are thinking people, caring about creating a bigger, better future for themselves and for the world. Look at that. There's another one. Look at that. Isn't that cute? And with a butterfly even. All right. So, on my Thursday calls, which I do every Thursday at 8 o'clock in the morning and 4:30 in the afternoon Eastern. In the afternoon call, in order to explain via an example a concept I wanted to get across, I brought up Arthur C. Clarke being the person who first envisioned satellites rotating around the Earth, communication satellites, right? And also in one of his books envisioned something called a space elevator. So instead of sending rocket ships up to International Space Station or geosynchronous satellite of some kind or another, you could actually build an elevator and send people up via a freight elevator. Okay, pretty far out concept, right? Anyway, back to magic. Arthur C. Clarke also said that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, right? Kind of cool. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So, that's pretty easy to understand if you can just think about the fact that if I could take this cell phone back with me 200 years in time and take people's pictures and show them their pictures on the phone, right? Or access Google to get access to all kinds of information. They could ask a general question about almost anything and I could look it up on the phone and show it to them. They would think it was magic, but it's just technology, right? So there is a technology that exists that many people think of as being magic, right? Or many people dismiss it as being like that kind of magic that you have when you have some magician on stage performing sleight of hand tricks. Or, the really great ones, David Blaine, stuff like that, who actually call themselves illusionists, right? Not magicians. Who, do amazing things, right? Okay, so that kind of, stage magic, right? Lots of people think of this as being like that. But I'm talking about that sufficiently advanced technology that appears like magic, okay? Appears like magic. Like this little grove I'm walking through here. Kind of cool, eh? Really, eh? Nice. Okay, anyway, that technology is, call it the power of positive thinking to make it really germane and understandable for people. But really what it is the technology of intentionally applying and combining and then applying intentional, focused, strong, repetitive thought with clear emotional energy, projecting that out into the world in order to have a physical impact on the universe. Okay. Those of you who know me know I've been talking about that for well over a quarter of a century, right? Okay. Well over a quarter of a century. So, on an individual basis, we can kind of understand that, what we think brings about our reality, right? In one way or another, right? Lots of people do not really buy into the idea that we can, through our intentional, focused thought combined with intentional, focused, positive emotional energy, actually influence the physical universe. But people are willing to buy into the fact that the way we think determines, to some degree, the results we end up having in life, right? Okay. But in these days, I want to draw your attention to a bigger thing. When so many people are spellbound, right? Magic, one of the things about magic that those who believe in, real magic kind of stuff, and the old kind of magicians, Merlin or whatever, type magicians, will tend to believe in spells, right? So they'll ask a witch or ask a wizard to create a spell for them to gain a lover or to gain fortune or whatever, right? Kind of stuff, like back to childhood stories kind of thing, really. But people who believe in magic believe in spells. Okay. People who believe in magic also believe in dark magic, or black magic, shall we say, and white magic, right? So dark versus light magic, right? Okay. So in order to truly understand, I think, what's going on with so many people, when you go out into the world and you see all these people who are spellbound, right, into this collective kind of hysteria, everybody wearing masks and thinking that that is somehow like a good thing to do. They're hypnotized into this belief, right? They've been spellbound. They've caught up into this false belief, right? That they are somehow good and higher beings, being spiritual, and helpful to other people by putting these muzzles on their face, right? And wearing a mask, which really kind of does the opposite of what it's supposed to do. But the point I want to make, I think, is look at this beautiful hayfield here. Isn't that wonderful? And all of those flowers and everything. I don't know if you can see them all, but beautiful stuff, isn't it? Maybe instead of lying down next to that elf in his mushroom and doorway, I should lie down here for... So, lie down in the hayfield for a second. Look at the clouds. All right? Okay. Anyway, these people are caught up in fear, right? Which, if you look at it clearly, and you think about it clearly, the fear was, people live in fear and anxiety all the time. But this kind of level of fear that has been wrapped around and pushed out because of this virus that is going to end up killing less people than the fucking flu of 2 years ago. It was done intentionally, right? To push people into not just a mental and emotional space, but a spiritual space, to cast a spell on them so that they are caught up in this magic, right? This collective consciousness of humanity, right? To create a sense of energetic vibration that permeates not just the individual, but the whole culture, right? All of the minds of like 7.8 billion people on this planet, to mold them into this compliant, mental, spiritual glob of unthinking, not human beings, not zombies really, because that's just kind of like movie-ish insult, right? But willingly unfree, people, right? People who are willing to buy into a grand narrative that is designed to disempower them, okay? And that fear was put out there as a spell, right? So it's spellbound all these people, and it cast that spell on all these people and turned them into this level of, lower vibrational entities that are kind of somehow lost, right? They don't have the freedom, the sovereignty, the individual understanding of their core spiritual essence, right? That they've lost that. They've caught up so much in the fear of their physical well-being, that they're not really thinking about themselves holistically as they are, as spiritual beings, as, indivisible parts of a manifest universe that is conscious, aware, and self-actualizing. They don't think of themselves that way because they're so caught up in the spell, right? They're disempowered to the degree that they're not really fully functioning, fully self-aware human beings anymore. They're just spellbound. They're boom, right? Okay. So what do we do about that? Okay, so let's say that the dark magicians, right? The dark magicians, those evil psychopaths that are out there, have done this on purpose. Okay, let's pretend that, okay? So, and let's pretend that there are people out there who consider themselves to be white magicians, right? Magicians of the light, right? Warriors of the light, whatever. And I want to say that, the thing that's obvious to us is, first of all, we have to work at breaking that spell. But also we need to think about, they used a certain level of knowledge and understanding and technology, right? The technology, our modern technology, the mass media, the governments, the whole thing, they used all of that as a way to cast their spell, right? So we should be using the same thing, right? We can counteract that, and really we can do it because the light always, you shine light into the dark and the dark disappears, right? That's pretty much the way it is, right? Bring a single candle into a dark room and the darkness recedes, right? Turn on the lights and the darkness is gone, right? So we can turn on the lights, and we can do it using the same kind of technology. That technology is available to us. It's called the internet. Right? So, fewer and fewer people than you imagine are actually watching the mass media. I mean, those of you who do still, I feel sorry for you. But fewer and fewer people are. The ratings, right? The people who are watching the mainstream networks in, the United States and Canada and Australia, England, all the first world countries, the number of people who are doing that has been plummeting for years and years and years and years and years, right? And they're struggling to maintain their hold on the world by pushing out more and more different variety of programs and more channels, and reeling people in through various forms of mindless entertainment and whatnot, just so that they can push this message out there, right? They're desperate, really. They're desperate because they've been losing their audience progressively, rapidly over the last few years. But the internet, right? I think the latest figures are about 60% of the population on the planet actually has access to the internet. Not necessarily as easily and as, readily as I do all the time, 24/7, but they have access to the internet. So, let's say 40% of the people on the planet have regular, pretty much unlimited access to the internet. So we can reach them, right? We can reach them, and we can tell them, right, a different story, spin a different story for them, a story of empowerment. I'm going to get up from the ground here. Look at, isn't these flowers, aren't they beautiful? That's incredible, eh? Right. Anyway, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk this way out of the hayfield and back onto the path. Okay, there we go. Thank you, farmer, for your hayfield. And we can cast a spell, right? Spread a meme or 2 or 3 or 5 or 7 or 100, or each of us do 10. And let's say there's 10 million or 100 million people out there who are willing to step up and become spiritual warriors, magicians of the light, and cast a spell collectively, right? In order to have that profound magical effect where you can actually impact the collective unconscious of humanity, right? Which is real. It can be done. It has been done many times in the past, right? Where things happen. Usually somebody does something physically in the universe, in the world, to have this major psychological impact on all of humanity, right? And people like Dean Radin and Lynn McTaggart and others are working on scientifically proving how certain things impact the global consciousness, if you will. I like to call it the collective unconscious of humanity, because most people are so unaware of it that it's below their conscious level, so it's unconscious information. Those of us who are kind of aware of that stuff can start by not just informing other people of the falseness of the other narrative and giving them alternative perspectives about different ways to look at things that are going on in the world today, but we can actually push out into the global consciousness and insert into the collective unconsciousness different levels of information, empowering information that is maybe disguised a little bit by positive thinking ideas, right? Or personal success literature or whatever, but we can push out these ideas out into the collective consciousness and thereby insert them into the minds, secondhand, the minds of a growing number of people around the planet. And if we change the way that the majority, not even the majority, a certain percentage of the people on the planet see things, relate to things, and go about living their lives, responding to the world around them in a proactive and creative and contributory way, instead of a reactive, negative, fear-based, zombie-like mechanism in response to what has been pushed out there for them to live within. If we can change the direction of that great global mind of humanity by inserting positive information into it, we can actually determine the direction of how this all turns out. We can envision a future, right? Not just for ourselves personally, but for all of humanity that is beneficial, right? Peace and prosperity and wonderful new forms of technology that will, to us at this point in time, appear like magic, right? Anti-gravitational machines, medicines that, are like Star Trek type of things, where McCoy comes along and scans your body and says, aha, you have a zinc deficiency. Here's a little zap of zinc and you're magically healed from whatever, right? Okay, so we can think that is possible. In fact, it's probably just around the corner, like maybe even the day after tomorrow, right? If we change our minds and change the minds of enough people to wake them up to their own creative abilities, their true power to be sovereign, free human beings. If we wake enough people up, we can change the whole mass mind of humanity, that great global collective unconscious mind, right? We can do that if we just get active and we just work at doing it. So the point of this video, other than to show you my little magic, not mine, the forest's little magic elf's doorway in the forest where I started my day, other than that, was to encourage you to go out there and be active, right? About sharing information, about spreading memes, right? Let's call it that. Let's spread memes. Indulge in some mimetic engineering, right? Advanced technology that seems like magic. Let's do that, right? Get out there and start pushing out positive, uplifting information into the global unconscious, right? Get it out there on the internet. Share what you find that you think is uplifting. Share, right? So that lots and lots and lots of people can see it, and if they choose, also share it, right? And as a consequence of that, enlighten, enrich, empower as many people as we possibly can. And when we do that, we will shift enough minds to shift the global narrative, to shift the future direction that humanity evolves within on this beautiful planet that we get to share. And I'm going to tell you this. If you're listening to this message, that is exactly why you are here on planet Earth. You came here on purpose to be here at this moment. And that is the reason you are here, is to help wake the rest of us up to who we are, what we're capable of, and why we're here. So, thank you for listening. I'm going to finish this walk, and it's Friday afternoon. So I'm going to walk over to the pub and have a nice cold pint of beer or two. And I will see you another day. Love you all. Bless you. Go out there and change the world. Be the change. Thank you. Love you.